Well, it's about time I got around to talking about Infinity Train. Before, my relationship with it was like how my relationship was with Owl House before I finally watched it. I heard a lot of good things about it, I respected other people's thoughts about it, saw all the fan art and praise, and yet I never watched an episode. But finally, I got curious, found all 10 episodes of the first season, and yeah, it's pretty good. And one thing to keep in mind, yeah, it is 10 episodes, and it didn't exactly come out in like one episode comes out one week and then another episode comes out another week. No, it was pretty much just like 5 days, I think all these episodes came out, just 5 days. There would be like a couple episodes per day from August 5th, 2019 to August 9th, 2019. Now, I haven't watched all of the show yet, so that's why I'm just talking about the first season, not the entire show. Although I will get around to watching seasons 2, 3, and 4. But right now, we have the first season, Book 1, The Perennial Child, to talk about. Now, I will be talking about a lot of aspects in this season, so that means there will be some spoilers. So, if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it and then come back to see this video. If you have, you can stay. If you want to be spoiled, then, okay, your call, you wackos. Okay, so, what are my real thoughts on it? Well, let's have a look. And you know the drill, summary first, thoughts after. Okay, let's begin. So the season revolves around a 12-year-old girl named Tulip Olsen, voiced by Ashley Johnson, who's also the voice for Tara from Teen Titans and Ellie from The Last of Us. You know, the good Last of Us. Ooh! So Tulip seems like a very bright kid who has a talent for game design. But she's also pretty closed off from her family and spends a lot of time in her room. The reason? Well, her parents are divorced. So you can kinda understand why Tulip's relationship with them is strained. But it becomes even more strained when she finds out that neither her mom nor her dad can drive her to that design camp in Oshkosh that she's always wanted to go to. Tulip has a blow-up with her mom, locks herself in her room, and decides to take matters into her own hands. She packs up her stuff, sneaks out of the house, and tries to get to Oshkosh on foot. Along the way, she comes across a train that might take her to her destination. But this isn't a regular train, oh no. This is the Infinity Train, a long train with an infinite amount of cars, and inside each car is a different kind of world. A snowy world, a crystal world, and a world where there are literal pencil heads. Yeah, it's just as bizarre as it sounds. Tulip also discovers the number 115 on her hand, and she finds out later that the higher the number goes, the longer you're on the train. But when it gets lower, you have a better chance of getting off it, and once it gets to 0, you'll get the gateway back home. But Tulip's main goal throughout the entire season is to just get to the engine, where the conductor is. Along the way, she's accompanied by a robot with a split personality named 1-1, and King Atticus, the king of all the corgis in the corgi car. From there, they battle different monsters, discover new worlds, meet all kinds of new characters, start to face their own inner turmoil, and it all concludes in a showdown with the conductor of the train. Let's get to the good stuff first. First off, let me just say that the animation is splendid. It's not bright and colorful like other shows, like say Gravity Falls, but some of the simple colors they use really do pop. It can be slow and natural, but also fast and tense. It's great in the dramatic moments, and it's good in the action-packed moments too. I love the different kinds of worlds, the expressions, and it's just impressive altogether. And I also do like how they fixed up Tulip's design in the show, specifically the chin and eyes. I mean, I did like the pilot's animation, but jeez, look at that chin. It looks more like the end of a pencil. And speaking of pencils, the different creatures made here are creative and memorable as well. The water people, the crystal men, the creepy mass machine thing that tries to kill our heroes, the chrome police. Look, I know they might have another name, but that's what I call them. The dog/cockroach monsters, and yes, the pencil heads. Look, I'm sorry, I know I keep mentioning them, but just look at them. They would look perfect in David Lynch's Eraserhead. And that's the thing about the show. It can be bizarre and weird, but that's what some of our most creative ideas are. Bizarre and weird. And if it fits with the world and tone, it's totally fine. I mean, could you imagine one car having a world that has nothing but pieces of bacon living in it? That does sound strange, but it would be a world that could exist on this train. And I know the goal was to get off the train, but if it had a world where it had nothing but people that are New York Yankees fans and Yankees merchandise everywhere, I'd say fuck it, let my number go up. I'm staying in paradise, baby. Another good thing about the show is its main characters. They are also memorable and pretty likable. Tulip is a fun protagonist to root for, King Atticus is a great loyal companion with a really cool voice, and 1-1 is pretty funny, and his pessimistic voice sounds like Alan Rickman to me. Okay, I'm sure I'm not the only one who said that, but I think it's pretty funny. But the best thing that makes this show so good are the dramatic moments, and most of them revolve around Tulip. She's going through something that many kids who have divorced parents go through. It can be tough to deal with, and I do understand it. Now, I can't say I relate to it personally, but I do have a dad whose biological parents were divorced, so I guess I must wonder if he and his siblings felt the same way Tulip felt. Why did this need to happen? Why can't you work it out? Why can't things be like how they used to be? Is it my fault? Those are some really sad questions that these kids ask themselves a lot, and that's why I really sympathize with Tulip. And I can understand why she would want to hold on to her perfect memories about them. And the reason why I put that in air quotes is because, well, those memories weren't exactly perfect, and that's shown to us in the 5th episode, The Cat's Car. Tulip finds a tape with her name on it, watches it, and gets transported into a TV that stores all of her old memories. At first, they seem to be pretty happy memories, but then she notices that some of them get downright weird and unrealistic. And when the static starts to envelop her, she starts to realize something. She's been trying to reshape her memories. So once she takes off the rose-colored glasses, she starts to remember what really happened. Like, for example, that day at the SeaWorld-esque place with the dolphins forming the pyramid and her having a great time with her family, that didn't happen. What did happen was that the place was mostly empty, it looked dirty and miserable, the dolphins were sickly and tired, Tulip's vision was fading, and her parents were fighting. And it all culminates with Tulip confronting the memory of her parents telling her about their separation. This was when Tulip started to shut herself off from them, became angrier and sadder, and so on. It's a tough scene to watch, and that's why this is my personal favorite episode. I mean, I know what it's like to really go through all of this, like, divorce, separation, feeling all this kind of stuff, like, is it my fault and all that, but I can understand it. It is tough, and it can mess someone up. But the big thing that Tulip learns by the end of the season is that, well, these things may happen, and change is hard, but it's how you try to live with the change, and how you live your life after you deal with all of it that matters. It's like what Anakin's mother said to her son when he's about to leave to become a Jedi.
I don't want things to change.
But you can't stop the change, any more than you can stop the suns from setting.
Exactly. But that's not the only good dramatic moment in this season. There is so much more. The bonding moments between Tulip and her friends are great, Tulip helping her chrome reflection escape and giving them the opportunity to become their own person is inspiring. And side note, it's also nice that she does come back in the 2nd season, so again, I'll get to that. Tulip breaking down when Atticus gets turned into one of those cockroach things is freaking depressing. And of course, the conductor's backstory. Or should I say, Amelia's backstory. Again, spoilers! Amelia once had a good life. She had a man who she loved very much, and they had so many great times together. But when he gets taken away from her far too soon, she was so distraught that she found the train, took over as the conductor, and tried everything she could to fill in the hole that was in her heart. Now, that doesn't excuse some of her actions, like removing 1-1 from his proper place in the engine, trying to detain our heroes, and so on, but you do understand her pain and suffering. It is heartbreaking. But thankfully, Tulip is there to give her some good advice. She lets her know that, yeah, it will be hard, and the pain will never truly go away, but we can't let it drag us down. We just have to keep moving forward. I mean, that's the same method I used after I found out one of my grandmothers passed away this year. It's sad, and I have a right to be sad, but I won't let it drag me down. I know I can get through it, and that's what I did, and that is what Tulip does too. By the end, things are better for her. Months after the train adventure, she's better mentally, her love for her parents is renewed, and she finally gets to go to that design camp she always wanted to go to. It's a nice happy ending to her story. But despite all the great drama that's in this season, there are some fun moments too. And some funny moments also. I think the funniest moments come from the 4th episode, The Crystal Car. When they encounter a door they can't get to, they find out from a crystal man that they need to sing an emotional song to a stone to make a staircase. But the catch is that the song must have some personal meaning to them. So this means we get to hear Ashley Johnson sing some very sappy emotional songs. And
High, low, wherever we go, I just know that our souls twine as one.
Oh, Ashley, I love you. I mean, I really do. I do love you as an actress, and you are very talented, but just not in the singing department. I'm sorry, but every time she sang, I couldn't help but laugh to myself. There are also some funny expressions, times where King Atticus acts like a king one moment and then acts like a real dog in another, and again, one really cracks me up. So, this season has everything. Drama, comedy, action, great designs, interesting worlds, interesting creatures, the list goes on. So, were there any problems I had with it? Well, just a couple. One, it might be a me thing again, but I think the pacing can be a little too fast. It was the same nitpick I had with the Recess episode Funny Valentines. Now, don't get me wrong, for the most part, the pacing is pretty good, along with the great writing and characters and so on. But there are times where it can go a little too quick, and that is very noticeable in the second problem I have with this entire first season, and that's one big thing that really bugs me in the second episode, The Beach Car, which I consider to be my least favorite episode. Now, don't get me wrong, I still found it to be a pretty good episode, but there's just one thing in it that bugs me. Now, here's the thing. There is a cat that we do get introduced to in this episode, and we find out that she also happens to know the conductor herself, and the big goal for Tulip is to get to the conductor, to finally meet him or her or whatever this conductor is, ask questions and so on. So Tulip makes a deal with the cat. If she can fix up her machine and give one to her, the cat will go to the conductor on Tulip's behalf. Tulip agrees, and the deal is done. But then, after the message of the episode kind of gets drilled in by these water blob things, Tulip realizes her mistake. So she catches up with the cat and takes 1-1 back, even though the deal was already done. So that kind of just makes her look like a backstabbing bitch, and this creates a little rivalry between her and the cat. I mean, the description of the episode says that Tulip suddenly feels remorse for letting 1-1 go. And yeah, that's the key word right there, suddenly. She feels that remorse a little too quickly in this episode, at least for me. Now look, I know that it's there to teach us a lesson about others that, it's great to have people that want to stick by you, like ones that are really loyal, really nice, and really want to be by your side. But I just thought it was a little too sudden, and the message was a little too obvious, a little too on the nose. It's still a decent episode, but it's just my least favorite. But aside from that, I love the first season. And for the people that haven't watched it yet, two things. One, you got spoiled. Don't blame me for it, you did it to yourself. And two, go watch it. If you have seen it already, go watch it again. It's really good. Its animation is wonderful, the characters are solid, the writing is sharp, it's creative, emotional, funny, dramatic, and very memorable. And I honestly can't wait to see the other seasons now. So the final score I will give to Infinity Train Book 1 is a 9 out of 10. Well guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And also, let me know in the comments below if you want me to do reviews on the other seasons of Infinity Train, Season 2, 3, and 4. And hopefully Infinity Train does get that 5th season, to really properly end its story. I hope it really does come to that. And if you also want to follow me on Twitter, the username is in the description as well. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for bearing with me on this after, my computer having a little mess up, a little technical difficulty. That's what I'll say. And as always, my name is Sam, and good night, everybody.